Now that's heavy armor and poise. Now, one last thing you can do with parrying that you have to know about parrying. Elevation matters. So, for instance, let's say that my opponent is here at the top of the staircase. Okay, makes sense. Let's say that I'm down here, and I land a successful parry. Okay, cool. We may not be able to parry him because we're at a different height. Instead, we may end up just doing a regular attack that'll hit him. It all depends on the elevation. Usually it's not too big of a deal because unless you're facing multiple enemies and you wanted to get stagger, or you wanted to get a parry. Now, here's another interesting fact. When you can see there, an arrow just went through us. When you're riposting someone, you're completely invincible. This goes for when you're fighting another player or when you're fighting another enemy. Now here's the second kind of critical hit that I want to talk to you about. It's called the backstab. You circle around behind, and you stab them in the back. However, there's one thing that a lot of new players, and when I was new I did this, do wrong. You have your shield up, and you try to backstab him, but you just hit him. What happened? Am I doing something wrong? No. Just lower your shield. Oh, okay, fine. Jerk. See, that was a problem with elevation. He was standing higher up on the bricks, I was standing a little bit lower. So there you go. Let's block this dude's hits. Or use an Estus Flask, I guess that's cool. Wrong button. Move circle around behind, get a backstab. Does less damage than parries, and I'll tell you why. However, we're going to demonstrate it on this guy, who is much more powerful than the last dudes we fought. Watch. Okay. Let's let him bounce off our shield. I did 27 damage. That did 19. When an opponent is staggered, they take more damage. So that's why a parry does more damage. Alright. Now if this takes you several tries, don't feel bad. It took me hours to get past this place. And this is just like the first 5 minutes of the area. So, right when you enter the fog gate, two-hand your weapon, drop off, and do a normal attack. This will cause you to do a plunging attack, which will do lots of damage to this guy. And you don't want to fall in front of him, especially if you've taken a lot of damage. Oh, we actually managed to dodge that there. Okay. Now, our broadsword will do a lot more damage. You can see with two-handed we take off a lot. But if you're a new player, keep your shield up all the time, and then right when he does an attack, hit him once. There's an example of shield stability. We were able to block that hit fully because we had a higher stability shield than other types of shields. Alright, so he's doing that hit. Let's take 2 hits off him. Okay, now shield up. Now remember, and this is a lot to think about, I admit. Remember our stamina and how I explained earlier that if you run out of stamina, your guard gets broken? Well, that's very true here, and you don't want your guard broken against this guy. So make sure that when you're trying to what am I trying to say? That when you're attacking this guy, you don't let your stamina get used up all the way, so you still have stamina for a block. Let's see if I can get my guard broken. Or we can just get hit. Now, another mechanic I'd honestly forgotten to go over is that... Fine, you're going to fly up. Is that when you're blocking, and just watch our stamina, your stamina regenerates a lot slower. Let's see. Okay, fair enough. That technically wasn't a guard break, that's just because his attack hit behind us. Okay, whatever. Let's use our last Estus Flask. Okay, now that may look bad, and you may be like, oh man, we don't have any more Estus Flasks. First of all, don't panic. And second of all, it wasn't that bad. We still gained health. His attack didn't do as much health as we healed. So let's take off 2 more. Really the trick to this guy is staying to the left. You really want to... And when he flies up, back away. And then take off some hits. And that's the Asylum Demon. We get a big Pilgrim's Key. And humanity. Alright. Open the door. And there's your first boss. And again, if it takes you a few tries, take your time. And if you get mad, leave the game. Leave the game and go take a break. Because this game is all about patience. For instance, blocking that guy's attack and then taking one or 2 hits off. It's all about patience. Alright, we've got a Soul of a Lost Undead. Now what that does, is it basically gives you souls, and souls, as you can see in the bottom right corner, those are basically our experience points, but this game refers to them as souls. So, without further ado, let us continue. Really beautiful game.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Welcome to Lordran, where the majority of this game takes place. Alright. Lordran, level up and kindle bonfires. Leveling up, straightforward, basically every RPG's mechanic. Kindling, basically it allows you to get more Estus flasks, so you can heal more throughout your life. So, since we know how to rest at a bonfire, let's do it. Alright, you see a lot of different things here. Reversing hollowing will make it so that your face looks nice, and you can also summon other players. However, you can also be invaded by other players. Now this is very unfortuitous, let's say. So in the beginning of the game, I don't recommend doing this. Unless you're playing with a friend who you can summon, don't reverse hollowing. You're going to be wearing a helmet most of the time. You're not going to see your face. And kindling, you actually have to be human to do. Alright, so level up. You see a lot of different statistics here, and it can be really overwhelming at first. But let's break them down one by one. Alright. Vitality. Hit points. You can see 659. And, by the way, you navigate this pane with the arrow keys. If you go to the right on a statistic, it'll increase it. If you go left, it'll decrease whatever you just put in. And you hit enter to confirm it. So, for instance, at the health, you can see this one would be what we would have afterward. So we could have a considerable more amount of health. Attunement. This is useful for mages and clerics, and mages as in sorcerers or people like that. This basically is the number of spells you can hold. Now, each spell obviously has a certain number of times it can be used, but that's not what I'm referring to. You can see we have one attunement slot, meaning that if we had a spell or miracle, we could equip it in that slot and use it. Endurance affects stamina and our equipment load. More equipment load means you can carry more on your person. That sounds so stupid. Meaning that you can do faster rolls even though you're wearing the same amount of armor. And it can also mean, obviously, you have more stamina. Makes sense. Strength, used for wielding very large weapons. Excuse me. Sheesh. My apologies, guys. Strength is used for wielding very large weapons that deal a lot of damage. They're typically very slow, and strength also helps you do more damage with them. Dexterity, whoops. Dexterity is the other side of the coin. Basically, it allows you to use more weapons that would be associated with finesse. Daggers, rapiers, spears, things like that. Resistance, don't touch it. Do not touch it. It'll increase your physical defense, don't get me wrong. But if you're dying a lot, upgrade your health. Believe me, upgrade your health. Because whenever you level up, you can see our resistances go up. Even though obviously putting them into resistance increases it. But just for now, there is a use to it, but for now, don't touch it. Intelligence allows you to use spells and increases the damage you do with spells. Allows you to also use higher level spells. Faith, basically the same thing as intelligence, but it affects miracles. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put 2 points into vitality, 1 point into endurance. This will give us a little more stamina. We still have our very heavy roll, but that's okay. Alright, now let's talk about humanity. Let's read the description. Rare tiny black sprite found on corpses. Used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. It'll full heal you. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? Okay. Humanity increases your item drop discovery rate. I'll show this. Item discovery rate's at 100. I honestly don't know what that statistic means, but it's a number. Let's use it. And you can see this changed. That's our humanity meter. Or humanity counter. Now you can see item discovery is 150. Huge difference. However, there is drop off after that, so what are you gonna do? Alright. I don't recommend using humanity in the beginning of the game. I was just doing it to make a point. Don't do it because you're later gonna really want humanity, and dying will get rid of your humanity. Alright, so let's talk to this guy. See what he has to say.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Just a note, this guy has a lot of dialogue, so if you don't feel like listening, just skip ahead.
Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit. What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all. What are you looking at? Don't try anything clever. You might regret it. What? You want to hear more? Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully then. One of the bells is up above in the undead church, but the lift is broken. You'll have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the undead burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the undead burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool. Bloody hell, what is it now? You ask too many questions. What now? I'm not up for chatting. Leave me alone.
Finally, dude. Jeez. Well, I say that, but the reason why I did that is because I want this to be immersive. I want this to be your guys' playthrough, you know? So let's run up here. And we have this fool.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thoroland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
No, well, let's not.
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this, as a token of peace. No, go ahead.